Well, I'm Brian Roberts, and I'm from Pella, Iowa. So we're looking at a few of my ceramic sculptures I have here at the Galesburg Civic Art Center. And for me, this investigation with these ceramic sculptures has grown out of a need to learn how to do ceramics because I'm a professor at Central College in Pella, Iowa. And my background is in sculpture and jewelry, and for a number of years I was doing sculptures, big metal sculptures based on granaries, and so those quite often were morphed into abstracted forms. And when I started teaching at Central College, I started teaching ceramic classes, and I had very little background in that, so part of what I needed to do was just learn how to use clay, and really was primarily interested in how to apply glazes and how to get the most out of that. So I pretty well fell back on what I knew as far as these granary forms that comes out of my background. I grew up on a farm. I farmed for a number of years, and these are kind of iconic forms that you see across the landscape that are tending to disappear. So in some respects, I'm recording these forms that are disappearing from the landscape. But again, at this point, my primary interest in these, as far as when I'm making these and what I'm thinking about, is the relationship of the individual forms and shapes and how they're coming together. And then when I get to the glaze, I'm really seeing, trying to figure out the best ways to apply these glazes and how I can take that back and talk to my students about their investigations in terms of glazes. And a lot of times what I do with these is I try to see what I can get away with on the glazes in terms of how each individual glaze, when I use it on a particular sculpture like this, to see how the glazes react to each other. So one of the things about the ceramic process, or this process with the ceramics, is I had to let go of some of the control that I could rely on with my bigger sculptures and the jewelry, and that, you know, when things went wrong, I could generally fix it or render it in some way. But ceramics, there's no guarantee that the ceramic vessel is going to survive the kiln firing, and there's I've had to learn the best ways for applying the glazes, but yet there's always that time when I open the kiln and the glazes haven't quite gone right, and that's, you know, that's a learning experience, and we go on to the next one. So I'm mainly interested in right now enamel jewelry, and that's something I've started investigating within the last year. It's been a long time since I made jewelry. I graduated from Miami University in 2002 with MFA in metals, and my time while I was teaching, I was primarily doing bigger sculptures and showing those, exhibiting those around the Midwest mainly. And at this point with my teaching schedule, I can keep up with the ceramics component of it and doing these enamel jewelry pieces. And I find that pretty fascinating, just learning that process, because it was a new process to me. And I also teach glass blowing at Central College, and so it's one way to kind of bridge some of the use of glass and glass blowing and then getting it into the jewelry pieces that I've started making. And I also kind of relate the enameling to the glazing here, because it's really, again, getting this glass surface onto an object, and so it's a little bit similar to these glazing investigations that I've been doing.